This week on the Jock and Nerd podcast, we're going back to phase 2 of the MCU with our review of Captain America, the Winter Soldier.
Geek boner.
Plus our instant reactions to the latest Thor Love and Thunder trailer as it drops, as well as trailers for Mission Impossible 7, She-Hulk, The Umbrella Academy, and more, all in this edition of the Jock and Nerd Weekly for Monday, May 23rd, 2022.
You know who this is, and you know why you're here. You want all the latest comic book and superhero TV and movie news, and by God, you found it. Forget everything else out there. Forget all the Scientology bullshit. This is the real deal. This is the real deal. Worship at the feet of the holy trio of geekdom, the Jock and Nerd podcast. Play it.
Check. Check one. All right. This is for all you fans out there. Let's give it up. Jock it, we nerd it. We funny, disturb it. We jock it, we nerd it. We spoiler alert. Oh yeah!
Hello, listener. Thanks for joining us this week. Welcome to the Jock and Nerd podcast, where we give you comic book and superhero TV and movie news, reviews, and whatever we choose. Jock and Nerd. My name is Imran.
My name's Anthony.
He's the Jock.
He's a nerd. We'll peep you next time.
And no, we won't. We'll peep you right now. Joining us also is a fella who, in his high school yearbook, voted most likely to give you monkeypox. It's Rug Boy. What's up, Rugs?
Actually, he's Monkey Cox.
Oh, chunk monkey Charlie Cox? Cordy Cox?
Charlie Cox is Monkey Cox.
So it's not bad enough now? We got to look out for fucking monkeypox? What is happening? I don't know.
What does monkeypox do? Does it give you any kind of monkey-like symptoms?
Abilities? That would be cool. They could start climbing trees and swinging with my
You get
tail.
like skin lesions, and it's not very pleasant.
That's not as fun.
So, but you get it from a monkey?
I don't know if you get it from a monkey. You can get it from someone that has it and has open wounds, and then you're exposed to them.
Oh.
Apparently, it's in lots of countries now. So have fun traveling this summer, everyone.
Well, isn't there monkeypox here now?
There is.
Oh, it's
Some
here.
monkeypox
Welcome. I, for one, welcome our monkeypox overlords.
Fuck?
There's no cure for monkeypox, right? If you get
It's not a cure. It's but a lot of people recover from it. But yeah, I don't think there's a cure.
I've heard a banana a day keeps it away.
a banana?
Jesus Christ.
Whoa. That's lame. Not funny. I almost believe you, Imran.
I had you.
So if you take horse fucking whatever that
Horse
is.
tranquilizer? No.
Horse dewormer?
Oh, yeah, the dewormer.
What is it? Ivermectin?
No, don't do that.
Doesn't do anything?
Don't even say that word. They're going to shut us down. You can't even say
you
the
can't
word
say that?
ivermectin.
Oh,
Now we're going to be flagged as misinformation.
God damn it.
Anyways, this week, you guys, I planned a fun MCU show. Let's get started.
The Jock and Nerd podcast.
Last week, we didn't talk about any MCU news or movies. This week, we got all MCU news and MCU movie review, with one exception, which I'll get to in a second. But right now, we are actively on Thor Love and Thunder trailer watch.
Oh, shit.
Apparently, the new trailer should be releasing during an NBA playoff game right now as it's happening. So it has not been released. We're going to keep an eye and monitor. And the minute it drops, you will get our instant live reaction on the show. I can't wait. I'm
right
excited.
Now, the trailer is in contractions. I can see it crowning.
Oh, it's coming.
It'll pass through the vagina
It's
any second.
breaching. Is that the? Oh, look at the hair. Oh,
yeah.
Ew. In the meantime, let's talk about some other trailers.
What the fuck?
I've never been in a delivery room, so I don't know.
Look at the hair. Ew.
Yeah. Ew. Oh, look, it's got hair. How does it have hair already? And it's longer than mine. What is happening? Let's talk about another trailer. This is the only non-MCU news I want to discuss. This just dropped earlier today. Mission Impossible 7. Tom Cruise is new. He's shooting parts 7 and 8 back to back. So,
I didn't think this was real when I saw it.
Right. This is called this number 7 is called Dead Reckoning Part 1. Trailer dropped today. Top Gun Maverick is coming out this week. He's been everywhere doing the press tour. So Tom Cruise, very high popularity count, celebrity count at the moment. Good time to release this. I love these Mission Impossible movies. The last few, directed by Christopher McQuarrie, have been amazing fucking action movies. Ruggs,
Right.
you were our big Mission Impossible guide. What did you think of our first look at Dead Reckoning Part 1?
I said this out loud to myself as the trailer was going on. I'm like, Tom Cruise, you're fucking insane.
He's
the whole
crazy.
time. I just kept on repeating that over and over again. And I was like fucking smiling ear to ear. I love fucking Mission Impossible. I especially love the newer ones that have come out in the past few years. But yeah, Tom Cruise, this particular vehicle that he has is very good. And because he's always up in the ante every time. He's doing his own stunts. I think he's swimming in with sharks this time.
Oh, is that
Like,
what he's doing? He's swimming with
know.
sharks.
Like the most insane shit you could think of that he would actually try and do. He's doing it, and he's running. He did.
There's
run.
a lot of him running
going on,
and man, he's booking his ass.
He's like 60, and he's running everywhere.
He hasn't aged a day in like 40 years somehow. Anthony, have you seen any of these Mission Impossible movies?
So I've seen 2 of them.
Okay.
I've seen Mission Impossible. I think it was 3. I'm not sure if it was 2 or 3.
J.J. Abrams.
No, it was 3. Yeah, I've seen 3, and I've seen Fallout in their entirety in the movie theater. I've seen both in the movie theater. The other ones I haven't really seen. I need to one day just catch up and watch all of them.
Rogue Nation is my favorite one.
Oh, okay, Rogue Nation.
Yeah.
Ironically, both of those times I saw it, I wasn't really there to watch the movie. I was on like dates.
Oh, I know you were there for.
Just like taking women to like a dark place to make out.
Yeah.
They were like 12 years apart though, which is kind of odd. That's really odd actually. That I was still taking a girl 4 or 5 years ago to a movie theater to make out with her.
We've progressed, yes.
Yeah, but my old go-to, you know. Anyways, as far as the trailer, I mean, it looks fine. I feel like Mission Impossible ever since Christopher McQuarrie has taken over.
Yeah.
Is just he's reinvigorated the franchise. I looked at Christopher McQuarrie's filmography, and he seems to just love working with Tom Cruise.
Yes, exclusively.
Jack Reacher,
Yep.
Mission Impossible, Edge of Tomorrow, Valkyrie. These are all Tom Cruise vehicles, either writing or directing. He wrote Top Gun Maverick, which is coming out this week.
Oh, he wrote Top Gun Maverick. Whoa.
Yeah, and produced. So he loves Tom Cruise. So the only thing I have to say about this is I like Haley Atwell. I like the blonde girl that's in this movie.
Vanessa Kirby.
Vanessa Kirby. I like that. I enjoy Tom Cruise again booking it at his age. I enjoy that he probably jumped off that cliff.
Oh, that
was.
absolutely. I was like, where's the big stunt? Show me the big stunt. He drives his motorcycle off a cliff. That is absolutely 100% him fucking doing that. You got it.
So all I got to say to him is God bless Scientology.
Holy shit. I guess Xenu keeps you young and healthy. He's going to live to be like 200 and not change. Dude, for my money, Rogue Nation and Fallout are fucking amazing action movies. Oh my God. And they're kind of like part 1 and part 2.
Yeah.
This Dead Reckoning, keeping with, like you said, the cast returning. You have Rebecca Ferguson, Ving Rhames, Simon Pegg, new to the cast this time, Haley Atwell, Carrie Elways, Isai Morales, Palm Clementif will be in this. But yeah, and you got Vanessa Kirby and the others. I thought this trailer was really good. And I love this Ethan Hunt character because Ethan Hunt in these movies most often does not have a plan, and he's just making shit up every time. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't go so well. But I love that kind of, it's not the Tom Cruise movie where he's like the best at the thing that he does and gets the girl. This one, he kind of fucks up a lot. He's clearly just making shit up on the fly and just doing crazy things, and you never know what Ethan Hunt's going to do. It looks like he's got to pick a side, obviously, in this grand story. And the running and the chase with a tiny yellow car. Oh, phenomenal. Give me that.
Geek boner.
In Europe, in European streets, that's always fun.
Is Mission Impossible the best action movie franchise ever?
I don't know about the whole franchise as a whole.
I think that in this particular, in its own way, it is. Because like you got like James Bond and Mission Impossible, they're kind of like cut from the same cloth.
Yeah,
Bourne kind of the same.
Yeah, Jason Bourne. Yeah.
But I feel like the amount of like
Fast and Furious I would consider similar to.
Yeah, amount of A-level talent that's going on, and like it's a higher bar. Like Fast and Furious is like, it's a cartoon at this point. Like there's nothing serious about it. And Mission Impossible, they're doing fucking impossible shit. They're doing like stuff that can't be done, but they're trying to root it in some kind of reality where like Tom Cruise is doing the stunts. Yeah. And it's just written a little bit more smart, and it's more of its time. Like James Bond's meant to be more timeless.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's a little hipper, but like, it's not to the level of like Fast and Furious where it's like just going for pop culture and, and cheap thrills. It's kind of trying to be a good movie still. Mm-hmm. So, it kind of like is in the middle between like James Bond and a Fast and the Furious and something like that. It's like not as out.
What about Bourne?
Well, Bourne's not really doing anything anymore, but like Bourne actually did some really good stuff. But the thing about Bourne is the stunts were never like these crazy stunts. They were always kind of like, they kept it kind of small. Mm. It wasn't like this big bombastic, like insane, like, like Tom Cruise, like was riding a helicopter. Like, he was hanging on the side of a fucking plane as it takes off. Like Bourne's not doing that. Like
even James Bond isn't doing that shit, in
the newer James Bonds, he's like taking his motorcycle, riding it upstairs and shit.
Oh, okay.
So I think James Bond it's up there with like the contrived action and shit like that. But they're kind of similar, but I think just James Bond's more timeless. And I think that Mission Impossible is a little hipper, just a little bit.
It's definitely a franchise that's like, it's gotten better, which is crazy. There's 7-8 movies in, and it's gotten better since where it started. I almost prefer.
And it's based off of a TV show, right?
Yeah, it's based off a classic 60s with where you light the fuse and you watch the fuse go down, and the music's always great. It's just as iconic as a James Bond theme to me.
I think James Bond was what kicked it off because it was the spy shit, and then all these spy shows came out, like The Saint and Mission Impossible and all these TV shows kind of like to capitalize off that spy craze that was going on. It's still around, just like James Bond is. It's just that it had roots in TV and not in movies. Like James Bond had like all of these, I think they're up to they're in the 20s of movies of James Bond.
Oh, there's got to be more. Yeah. But look at the directors you got on this franchise. Brian De Palma, Brad Bird, John Woo, J.J. Abrams, and now Chris McQuarrie, who's clearly has a good chemistry with the Tom Cruise. Like they must be close buddies.
I'm probably going to watch all the Mission Impossibles at some point.
Yeah, catch up on the franchise. It's dope and it gets better.
Because again, I've only seen them twice. Two movies.
You weren't really paying attention.
Shoving my tongue down some girl's throat during the movie.
The only thing that I'll say about, and this is the thing that I don't like about, that I like about Bourne and that I don't really like about 007 and Mission Impossible, Ethan Hunt, is that Bourne, you kind of get to know the character, and he does fall in love with somebody, and he kind of has a relationship and this and that, and you kind of see him as a person. But James Bond is always this like thing that it's like a mask you can't get behind. He's shrouded in mystery, and even though when they tried in the newer movies to get to know James Bond, you really don't care because you just want to see him do crazy shit. And it's the same thing with Ethan Hunt. You really never get too deep into Ethan Hunt. I wish they would maybe a little bit more, but I don't know.
There's a little love interest with the Rebecca Ferguson character.
Yeah, that one's been consistent. That helps.
Yeah. So, no, I'm excited. This isn't coming out until next year, summer of 2023. So this year will be summer of Top Gun Maverick, Tom Cruise. Next year will be summer of Mission Impossible, Tom Cruise. Listener, let us know what you think. Join the conversation. We have a Facebook group just for you, just for our listeners. It's called Jock and Nerd Nation. It is a closed, exclusive, private little club. You can come hang out and geek out. People are being mean on Twitter and posting black squares with a play button and a timestamp on the bottom. And they're like, it's here. Here's the trailer. And you click it, and it's just an image of a play button.
It's not Rick Astley?
No, it's not. It's not even Rick Roll. It's not even Rick Roll. So while we wait for that, let's talk about the other trailer that we've had a week to sit and discuss and shake our heads over, maybe. I'm talking about the first trailer for the She-Hulk Disney Plus show, the show officially titled She-Hulk Attorney at Law. And this one will be 9 episodes starting August 17th. We also got a release date. And it's going to be similar to the WandaVision, like half an hour to 40-minute episodes if it's going 9, I imagine. So, Anthony, let's start with you. You've seen the internet love and hate for this trailer for several reasons going around. What did you think overall? Are you excited
Geek boner
for the show
Floppy John.
or not?
I liked the tone of it. I think it'll be fun, but there's no way you can talk about this trailer and not bring up how crappy the CGI is.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Everyone on the internet's talking about it. I'm sure Marvel at this point has heard the buzz and is going to do something about it, but it is legitimately awful, and I don't know why they released the trailer when it looked like that. I did read that someone, I don't know if this is true or not, someone on Twitter that said they were working on the VFX was like, well, we originally had She-Hulk to be thicker.
I saw that because I was wondering.
But Marvel was like, no, you need to make her thinner. And we were still, like, because of that last-minute switch, that's why the trailer, they're still working on it, yeah. But I don't know if that's true or not. We'll see. She's not that thick in the comics, though, so.
Yeah.
Why would they make that call to make her thick?
I think it's just easier to animate. Because if you, like, do the Uncanny Valley stuff, and if she's, like, hulking and big,
yeah,
you can kind of get away with, like, the movements not looking as human because, well, she just isn't human anymore.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But with her being thin, she looks just like a tall human being.
Do you think they meant more muscular when you say thicker, or
I think they were, like, thinking, like, Hulk size, like, bigger.
Yeah, and essentially she's just like a taller green person, like that's just, proportionally enlarged. She has a little bit of tone. I thought she would be more muscular, but she's very curvy also at the same time. I enjoyed I hope the writing of the show kind of saves from finishing the CGI, because I thought some of the lines were funny. Right, where he's like, it's triggered by fear and anxiety, and she's like, that's like baseline for all women. That was a funny joke. Her carrying her date at the end is a funny joke.
I liked her. I did like her vibe.
Yeah,
like she seems fun and like someone I'd enjoy watching. Like I think she's a decent casting, but you just can't. There's no way you can get over that CGI.
Tatiana Maslany is fantastic,
absolutely awful.
But the actress is great. She's a very talented actor.
Doesn't matter if the CGI is gonna be that bad. You can't do it.
So do you think we have a Sonic the Hedgehog situation here?
I don't think that there's enough time for them to really do anything about it.
9 episodes coming out in a few months. Do you have time to fix this?
A lot of this is already printed. It's on film. They're ready. That's it. They can't really do much to it.
This may be what we're getting.
This is what we're getting.
I refuse to believe it.
See, and the other thing is,
the buzz has been so bad.
I know
you can't.
But you know what happens
if
is
they leave it like this.
Like we all know it's bad, but once they like rip the Band-Aid off, like you just fucking like, all right, whatever. This is what it is. Like I thought the same thing about Moon Knight. Was like, oh, I could tell it's CG. Like I could tell that this is not a real dude. It's like there's nobody in the suit.
Yeah,
but like I just resigned myself to it, and it's fine. Whatever. Well, it's TV.
It's a little easier. Like the Moon Knight, I could tell was CG too, but it's a little easier when you don't have a face.
Yeah,
she's got a face.
Some of her eye movements don't really like match up to what she's doing, and just the compositing, she looks like she's not in the scene. She looks like she's just on top of the scene, just pasted on top for some reason.
The one scene where she looks at her computer and like lifts her head up, but then her eyes, after she lifts her head up, slowly move to the left.
She's holding her phone. Yes, she's holding up her phone, and the eye moves at different. It just doesn't look right. It looks like
it doesn't look right.
It's delayed.
There's a lot more going on. Yeah,
some of the face is a little floaty. You do get the Uncanny Valley effect. Some of the stuff I love, though, you see Tim Roth for the first time.
I enjoy that
since Incredible Hulk, and you see Abomination. You see,
Tim Roth is just so old now.
He's so old. Yeah, he looks like he looks like an alligator. So he's still
leathery.
He looks like evil just because he's so old and leathery. Yeah.
You notice he's in the cell with these red bars, which is the same cell in Shang-Chi when Wong took Abomination back through the portal. You saw that same cell.
I think
in the
she
portal.
has to.
I think she has to defend
his
him.
lawyer.
Yeah, I think she has to defend him. So yeah, there's a company she works for, and they're taking superhero law, and she's got a new job. She's trying to navigate this. And originally, I believe Jennifer Walters, Bruce Banner's cousin, has an accident, and then he gives her a blood transfusion, giving her the powers. I don't think that's what's going to happen in this show.
Wasn't there a car accident in this too?
There is a car accident, but if you notice, there is a shot of her after that accident turning into She-Hulk, staring at the car door. She's already She-Hulk. The theory.
Well, well, before you get into your theory, the reason that I saw online that like they were saying they could get away with maybe not making her as big is because she got a blood transfusion, so she wasn't exposed to the full gamma blast that Bruce got.
I don't think it's going to be a blood transfusion because I think maybe the theory is, remember in Endgame when a Hulk mentioned that the snap was like gamma radiation? And possibly if she has the same DNA blood, it triggers her inherent gamma whatever reaction the same way he has it. So I don't know. We'll see if there's an accident, but it looks like a fun, breezy, like attorney comedy. And you see Frogman, which is a very
you see Frogman.
obscure.
You see Titania too.
Titania. Frogman was in the Spider-Man comic book. There's two Frogmen. The Frogman is like the son of this other guy, Leapfrog. They both wear frog outfits. It's the most ridiculous thing.
Did you notice they changed the title card?
Yeah, it's now, and they added the attorney at law, obviously, the subtitle, and
but they made it a little more
I like
cartoony.
I like it better than the other one with like the slice through it. There was like a slice.
It was like a city with much more serious looking.
I kind of like the idea that she's like huge on social media and she becomes a celebrity and everybody wants a picture of She-Hulk. Like that's kind of fun. Also in this show, joining her will be Benedict Wong, as Wong is going to be in this show. I don't know how many.
What about Mark Ruffalo?
Mark Ruffalo, it says 9 episodes he's in. I'm wondering if he's going to be in the whole thing.
I thought Charlie Cox is going to be in it.
Well, and that's the other thing. There's no mention of a Charlie Cox, which would make sense. He's a lawyer. He could show up. Remember, there was the rumors that from the insiders that were concerned about this show, saying this show was a mess for a long time. They feel like we kind of see a little bit what they were talking about in this trailer. But I just hope the writing, if it's written well, it can pull it together.
So here's the thing about the insiders.
Yeah.
I don't trust anything the insiders say because Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, you had us go through and read an insider
bullshit.
thing, and it was
all bullshit.
90% of it was bullshit.
Yes, it was. Yeah, and I was glad.
And there were fake images online.
Yes.
There were fake images of Deadpool in a cell.
Yeah.
Of Toby hanging out somewhere, and there was like a fake image of something else too.
I'm glad those are bullshit because it didn't like spoil anything really. A little bit, but not really. Renee Elise Goldsberry also in this. She's from Hamilton. She's amazing.
Bottom line though, the show is going to be unwatchable if they can't fix that CGI.
Yes.
I don't care how good it is. If that CGI is that bad, I won't. It'll be unwatchable. I will bag it every episode if it's that bad.
Yeah, that's going to be a problem.
I just think that the hair is really bad too.
Really bad.
It looks like a helmet.
Yes, the hair is all tight. It's not like a flowy. You see them leaping. Like when she's in the daylight, that shot of her leaping
looks
down.
Better.
It's better outside, but inside, I don't know. This is going to be interesting.
It's just weird that Marvel. I don't think I've seen a trailer where Marvel's released, and I'm like, oh, that looks really, really unfinished.
They wouldn't have released this if they thought it was like obviously a lot riding on this. I feel like they wouldn't have released it if they didn't approve it or okay it or say this is good enough to go.
Well, that's just stupid because I'm a schmuck and I can't tell anything, but I can tell that sucks.
What do you think the appeal of She-Hulk is? Do you think that there's like an audience out there for She-Hulk?
Well, from the comics, she's like kind of a fun lawyer that breaks the fourth wall, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes and like embraces her sexuality.
Well,
Yeah.
So you got kind of like a different, like Black Widow is a sexy character, obviously.
Marvel's not really doing horny shows though. Like this is going to be their first horny show,
right? This is the first time that they're diving into like a character's.
They did go out of their way to go into this trailer and show her about to bang some dude.
I mean, we've had one sex scene in all of the MCU, right? In the Eternals. Like, that's really it. And, you know,
that's a really shitty sex scene. A really weird one.
It wasn't the greatest sex scene. It's very sanitized, safe sex scene. A lot of the women...
Well, I'm not saying they need to take off all their clothes and show it to us, but that scene was just not set up very well.
You know, I think of, like, the Jessica Jones scene where she's banging Mike Coulter's Power Man, and they're breaking the bed and shit. Like, they're never going to do that. Like, you're never going to see that, but I like that they're alluding to she has a dating life. Because if you think of largely a lot of the women in the MCU, how they write them, they're all kind of like, they got father issues. They're all looking for their kids. It's a lot of the same. They all have trauma. So
it's a lot of the men too.
Yeah.
I think every character in the Marvel universe has some sort of trauma. Family issue.
Yeah.
Well, every person has
Every
trauma.
person
It's
has
just
trauma.
how much do you let that dictate who you are? That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah, the tone is going to be interesting. I do like the tone. If it's a fun comedy, I don't know.
I'm down for 9 episodes. I like the length. Like, even if they're 30 minutes, I think that just gives you, it creates a longer conversation. It gives you more time to breathe on things.
Yeah.
But the show, there's no point in diving in if they don't fix the fucking CGI.
No,
Well,
I agree.
The whole reason I ever read She-Hulk was because
He was sexy.
because when she appeared in the other comics, like Fantastic Four or whatever, she was just like a green lady. I'm like, okay, who cares? But then John Byrne took it over, and then it made it like very sexual. Like, I mean, like they still had to appeal to the comics code, and they still had to, like, you know, keep it PG-13 and everything. But it was just like, oh, these drawings are freaking out of control. Like, they're super sexy drawings, and it was funny. So you're like, no, you're getting a laugh and you're getting a boner at the same time. And so I don't know if Marvel's going to do that on Disney. I just don't think that that's going to happen. And of course, they don't want to objectify. They want to empower and this and that. So it's like, I'm very interested to see how far from the DNA it goes from the comics. So it's interesting.
I mean, I like that other line where she's like, superheroes is for billionaires and narcissists and adult orphans for some reason. Like, there's some funny lines in there. So if the comedy's good.
Do you think they will adapt the storyline where she defends Eros because Eros was
sexually
assaulting women?
That's an actual storyline from the
Through
comics.
mind control.
Yes. You got to get Harry Styles in this, and she's going to defend him.
You got to get, I mean, you have all the pieces there.
Yeah.
You have Harry Styles, even Tatiana Maslany, so.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if Charlie Cox will show up in this or the Echo show, which has begun production.
Both.
Yeah. And speaking, well, we'll get to him in a second. Before that, let's move on to the next story. Disney had their upfronts last week, which is like where you show all your TV stuff to advertisers so they know what's coming out. So a lot of the stuff came out during the upfronts. Another thing that came out during the upfronts was details about the Secret Invasion TV show that it was announced in 2020, featuring Sam Jackson as Nick Fury and Ben Mendelsohn as Talos. So Feige has recently detailed, in this article, it says Feige has recently detailed when the Secret Invasion television series will take place within the MCU timeline. Very little information has been previously revealed. According to him, quote, the show will feature during the blip when half of the universe was decimated by Thanos and will explore the events that happened in that period. So first of all, I got a lot of questions. This is like a prequel happening during the blip. But second of all, which fucking Nick Fury blipped away then? Was that him and Maria Hill, were they Skrulls? And the real Nick Fury at that point was in space with the Skrulls? How does this, are they retconning shit? Does this timeline track? Anthony, what does this mean? Is this confusing?
No.
So, where's the real Nick Fury?
We'll find out.
Which Nick Fury was blipped, do you think?
We'll find out.
God damn it.
I don't know how it's confusing. If Skrulls can change into anybody, then there's a Skrull that took over Nick Fury's place while he got blipped out.
But then you're going to do a whole show where the main Nick Fury is not even Nick Fury?
It's Skrulls. That's the whole point.
I guess it is Skrulls.
Secret Invasion's whole thing was, all those comics you read all over the years?
They were all
retconning
aliens.
it now to just make them Skrulls.
everybody was Skrulls. But they don't adapt the storylines.
No, they're not. There's no way
they're
doing it that way.
Ruggs, what do you think? Will the real Nick Fury please step forward?
They both exist at the same time, don't they? Fake Nick and real Nick.
I guess.
Real Nick's out in space, right?
Well, he did get blipped.
Real Nick? What if that was a Skrull? But if that was a Skrull, how did he have the pager from fucking Captain Marvel?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it just seems like they have some explaining to do. And I don't know. Marvel usually at least gets somewhere in the ballpark where they should be, but like,
are things getting messy?
Off by a little? Yeah.
Is their continuity getting messy?
Yeah, a little bit, but it's not like DC level where it's just fucking completely incongruent. It's just like a little off.
Well, that got me more excited for this show now.
There's room for them to like right around it. You know, they can figure something out. I'm hoping. I'm giving them too much credit, but like whatever. Let's see what happens.
Well, this show isn't coming out until probably next year, so we got to wait a little bit. Okay, back to the Charlie Cox. This was exciting news.
Geek bonus.
Variety reporting a new Daredevil series is moving forward at Disney Plus with producers and writers Matt Corman and Chris Ord. And the rumor is that this is not a reboot. This will be a continuation of the Netflix series. Holy shit. What do you think about that, Anthony?
It's not a reboot?
It's not a reboot. It's going to be a continuation, allegedly, which I think is the better thing to do, maybe, since you've already introduced Vincent D'Onofrio, Kingpin. And it's essentially the same Kingpin in Hawkeye.
He's a little different in that one. He's a little more powered. But, well, I like that those Daredevil shows could potentially be in continuity. So that's a good thing, because those shows were awesome. Here's the only thing, though, is Disney, what are they going to, like, what's the tone going to be? Like, because if the way they handled Kingpin is any indication, then I don't know if this jives with the tone they've set for Daredevil. Like, I don't think he worked very well in Hawkeye because of the way they changed the overall vibe of his, like, how he felt in that show. He was still the same guy, but it felt like different. I don't know. It didn't completely jive for me. So,
but like a parody of it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Like a little more cartoony, exaggerated. I mean, they just threw him in the last episode too, which is kind of annoying. Well, to your point about the tone, that is a good question, because so far all of the Marvel TV shows have been rated TV-14, which is like a PG-13. This would have to be their first TVMA rated show if you want to get that same vibes from the Netflix show. And I
don't think they're going to go that far.
Because remember, we thought Moon Knight was going to be a little bit edgier, and it was still TV-14, same rating as the others. Maybe that was pushing it a little bit on that show, but not really.
Moon Knight, you got violence, people got stabbed and shit.
Yeah.
So it just wasn't. It was bloodless, a lot of it. So Daredevil was full of blood and gore, but I think you could still get pretty brutal. Maybe you don't have as many broken noses and shooting out bloody snot everywhere, but I think you could still get pretty visceral with it. I don't know. I don't know what Disney wants. I really don't know if it wants to go in that direction and like actually go for a TVMA or something like AMC would do. Because you can do it on TV, like that. Like on regular cable TV, you could do this shit, no problem.
Yeah, this isn't regular cable TV. It's Disney.
But that's what I'm saying. Like Disney's got these standards that no other fucking entertainment company with this wide of an umbrella adheres to.
These guys, Corman and Ord, co-created the USA series Covert Affairs. I've never seen it. But they're also showrunners on other NBC and CW shows.
Where'd you see that this is a continuation?
There's another story that says reportitly a continuation.
I also saw that.
That was out. But and that would make sense. Look, we saw him in Spider-Man No Way Home. He's already got his senses. He's where he's at. He caught the rock. But if he's been Daredevil this whole time, like nobody's noticed, maybe nobody went to Hell's Kitchen. He was only in Hell's Kitchen.
Well, you want to know what it seems like? It's like when there's a movie that comes out and then they make the cartoon version for Saturday morning TV.
Oh yeah,
like Rambo, the TV show.
Oh my God, that's what the Kingpin felt like.
Well, it also seems like it's like what they do with, because if you add this into continuity, technically that Defenders series is continuity because the ramifications of the building falling on him are how season 3 opens. He opens up in the with the nuns because he was being taken care of because a building fell on him. So if that means the Defenders shows, that means all those characters are within continuity. But I don't think Marvel wants to have all of that in continuity. So what they're pulling is the classic Toho Godzilla shit, where a new director comes on, they're like, I'll take the first movie and this movie, and those are in continuity, and the rest, fuck it.
Fuck the rest.
Because I definitely don't see Marvel wanting to have everything like that in continuity, but you kind of do if you make it this continuous.
What if they kind of retcon everything? It's a comic book thing to do, retconning. So they'll keep some of it and then they'll change some of it and to fit their narrative.
Yeah, they'd have to do something, right? They'd have to come up with something to retcon it.
Yeah, like I think that they would probably do a like a doohickey, like a flashback kind of retelling of the story and like editing things out.
I wouldn't mind seeing that dude who played Bullseye come back. He was pretty dope. That was a fun season.
Yeah, it was. That was a good season.
You know? And then you got the question of Bernthal's Punisher. Where does he fit in? Is he still part of this? So if it's a continuation, that's going to be interesting to see how it's handled. I'll tell you one show that's not going to be rated TV 13 or TV MA. It's going to be Disney Plus's first Marvel show to be rated just TV PG. And that's Miss Marvel coming out June 8th. I can't wait for this one.
Geek boner.
They put out a new, like, short 1 minute, another TV spot showing a little bit more action, a little bit more use of her powers and her bracelet, and the fact that it was like her grandmother's, maybe her mom's trying to hide it. You see her using her powers a little bit more. I'm still in until I see this. Are you guys still excited for the Miss Marvel?
Oh yeah, super excited.
I don't think he is.
I don't think he. Oh, they're showing the Thor trailer, by the way. So I'm watching it right now.
Shit! Shit!
We'll let it
breaking
simmer.
News.
No. They're showing it right now, but we'll let it simmer. Oh, they're showing gore.
It is online right now. Don't spoil.
No,
you spoiled it.
I'm literally watching it on the commercial.
It's online. Shall we watch it now? Find the link, react,
right,
and we'll get back.
Well, one thing. Let me just comment real quick on the what is it called? What are we talking about now?
Ms. Marvel.
Ms. Marvel. PG.
Yes.
I mean, I'm not entirely surprised. This is it looks like it's a kid show. They're aiming it at kids.
Show.
Am I excited? I'm more excited than Rug Boy.
That's good.
I'll leave it like that.
I'm over the moon.
Look, I'm excited to see.
I'm in the stars, and if he's over the moon.
Look, Shang-Chi brought the Asian representation. I'm excited to see Pakistani immigrant Muslim American representation and how accurate they do it. And does it make me think of like growing up in a Muslim household? For the first time to see it, when the comic came out, I was like, holy shit, I can't believe there's a comic book about this. And now there's a TV show about this. That's huge. I'm still a little nervous about Iman Vellani's performance, being this is her debut. But we got a lot of debuts in the MCU. Okay, it is out. We're going to all watch the Thor Love and Thunder new trailer now. Trunder trailer, truck driver trailer.
Let's get ready for some jokes, people.
Get your jokes ready, and we will come back and give you our instant reactions. Listener, if you want to watch, there's a link in the show notes.
There's going to be a lot of jokes.
Click the trailer. You've probably seen it. We're going to watch it now and react. Talking nerd. Okay, wow. That was fun trailer.
Wow, just giving away your reaction right away.
I'm going to give away my wow. No, look. Well, let's get into it. I like how it's narrated by Korg.
Why don't you go first,
Imran? The
Imran?
thing was great. I'm gonna go first because I started because I control this motherfucking ship. You fuckers. Okay, let's get to the big thing. Anthony, what did you think?
No, you start. You liked it, right?
I liked the just the construct of the trailer of Korg narrating a story to kids and then the reveal of Jane Foster, and then the big thing, the new thing. Yes, we get to see Gore, Christian Bale as Gore, the God Butcher. And well, what did you think of his look?
He kind of like, I'm getting like Xerxes vibes from 300.
Oh, okay.
The way he looks. I'll just start off and say I think the trailer looked really good. I thought it was really well crafted. I actually was excited by the end of the movie or the end of the trailer. I think it looks really good. I don't really have many complaints. I mean, I know it's going to be jokey. You have Korg narrating to kids, like you mentioned, but seems like a lot of cool stuff. And you have now Jane Foster being thrown in there. I like the line where she's like, "What? It's been like 3-4 years," and he's like, 8 years, 6 months, 7 days, 3 hours.
Keep track.
Yeah, it looked good. I thought it looked really good.
She looks great. She looks fucking jacked. Ruggs, those are not fake arms, as though you previously believed that those are prosthetic.
I don't know.
No, I think that's her.
I really don't know.
I think that's old Natalie Portman. Ruggs, what'd you think? What'd you think of Gore?
Whatever. I like Christian Bale, so that should be fun. I did enjoy bits and pieces of it, so I think it's going to be good. I like the music a lot.
Well, yeah, they do a
Sweet Child of Mine,
orchestral version of Sweet Child of Mine.
It's like a synth version of it.
Yeah,
that's kind of cool.
It's got all like the 80s vibes, especially that shot at the end in the purple sky and he's jumping. It's a very like 80s throwback.
Yeah, I mean everybody looks great, so that's good. I think the Gore looks all right. I'm not like overwhelmed by Gore, but
he's doing a little Marilyn Manson vibe look there a little bit.
A little bit.
So they didn't do the thing where he doesn't have a nose. Like the design in the comics, he looks like that dude from Harry Potter, Voldemort, right? Where he has no.
Right. They probably were trying to avoid that.
Because then that's gonna come up. So you see full Christian Bale just in like white makeup, all pale with some stripes, and he's stabbing a planet, and he's planning to kill all gods. Meanwhile, Thor and Natalie Portman are flirting. So fun.
Yeah, I just wonder if they're going to have any chemistry this time.
Well, what's interesting too is whenever they have Gore on screen, the entire back, like everything's different. It's all gray. It's all this
black
gray
and white.
Yeah,
Yeah,
black and white. So wondering if they're going to just do that theme throughout, whenever he's on screen, everything turns that shade of gray, black and white.
They cut to Thor, and he's like, "Let's go," and he's black and white too.
Right.
That's really weird. Does he suck all the color? Because the rest of the trailer is super colorful, which I actually enjoy. All the colors and his crazy suits and the tag bit where he blows off Thor's clothes and he's just standing there buck naked and people are fainting. It's funny.
You flick too hard.
You flick too hard. God damn it! The girls just fall. That's funny. You got to see Russell Crowe a little bit more as Zeus. I guess that is.
Yep, that's Zeus.
That's Zeus.
Yeah, I thought it looked really good. If I had to rate it, I'd say it's a 9 trailer for me. Nice.
It's interesting. It came out so soon after the teaser, but I mean, this movie's coming out in July 8th.
Well, they did a similar thing with Doctor Strange, where they did the teaser at the end of Spider-Man: No Way Home, and then like a month or two later, they released another trailer.
Their marketing plans are getting shorter and shorter. Like they're not doing the 6 months ahead, 3 months ahead. No, fucking 2 months ahead, 2.5 maybe. 1 month, just drop something, keep us waiting. Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how they combine these two storylines with the Jane Foster.
Did you like it?
I did. It's all right. No, I fucking love it. It looks fantastic. I grew to love, Waititi's take in Thor Ragnarok. At first, I'm like, this is really jokey. But you watch that more, like whenever it's on, I'm like, it's a fun movie.
Yeah, that movie's grown on me. I didn't initially like that tone either, and I still don't like aspects of it and how they did some characters pretty dirty, but I will admit that the character Thor needed something. And
they found it. They finally found it. Yeah. So I give him props for that, and now I'm in. Like if he does a trilogy, I could see him doing another movie. So there's like a little Taika trilogy of Thor, but the tone definitely matches. There's some cool flipping and fighting from Jane Foster. She looks good. This is going to be interesting.
I mean, overall, it looks like it's a quality Marvel film. You know what you're going to get. You know what Waititi's going to bring to it. He's got a flair, so I feel like I know what to expect. And I'm not really like blown away where I'm like, oh shit, But I'm whelmed. I'm like, all right, this is what I expect, and this is what we're getting. So I just the thing that stood out to me more than anything was the music. So
yeah, the music is fun, and I don't see any like multiversal shenanigans. So I don't think this may even have anything to do with anything that's been happening with the multiverse and all those things, right?
Probably not, but
well,
I don't think it needs to.
There's a possibility that Thor is a variant.
I thought these different Thors that we saw were going to be variants, but the way they stitched this trailer together, it seems to be the same Thor, different costumes. And you got Valkyrie, and she's the leader of Asgard. But yeah, I'm on board. Bring it. This is the next movie I'm really looking forward to for this year. So I'm looking for a good time. I'm glad we got to do it on the show. We didn't have to wait. Instant reaction live on the show.
Do you think this movie will make more than Doctor Strange?
Yes, let's talk about that. Because
Probably.
that was my next topic. Doctor Strange.
This is more fun. People are going to be into it more.
Doctor Strange opened to $187 million. So far, it's made over $800 million worldwide in like 3 weeks. The movie's been out 4 weeks. That's amazing. They're saying it's going to top out at 950. I don't think it cracks $1 billion. It gets close. Does Thor 4 open bigger than $187 million, Anthony?
I think it does.
Oh, shit.
But that being said, I think
why?
it's Doctor Strange opened at a really high mark. A lot of it because Spider-Man. A lot of it because of the promise of multiverse madness and cameos. So it's going to be tough, but I think Thor does beat it because, first off, the fact that we're saying Doctor Strange is made 187 million.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like that. No one thought that character would be doing that.
Yeah.
But I think Thor, like I mentioned earlier, they found something with Thor and Thor Ragnarok, and I think his character is still really popular.
Yeah.
I think Thor is a more popular character, and I think you throw in that you have a female Thor and that he's already like a stud with the females, but you're throwing in Natalie Portman, female Thor. I think this appeals to everybody. It doesn't appeal to just people, Marvel fans looking for cameos. I think this does it. I think it gets over a $200 million opening.
Over 200 million. Ruggs, you think it opens bigger too?
Yeah.
How much bigger?
Well, I think it's going to be around the same mark. I don't know if it's going to. It's definitely going to be close to that. So, like domestic, 200 million. Yeah.
Yeah. This is what I was thinking about this a lot, and I agree with you, Anthony. Arguably, this Thor is way more popular than this Doctor Strange.
One thing though, just a one ad.
Yeah.
This is just opening weekend. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's only been 6 movies, Marvel movies, that have made 200 million opening weekend. And I'll read them to you. Endgame, No Way Home, Infinity War, Avengers, Black Panther, and Avengers Age of Ultron. So out of those, only 2 were actually non-Avengers films.
My prediction is it opens bigger than Doctor Strange, but under 200 million.
I misspoke.
That's my prediction.
Avengers Age of Ultron made 191. It's opening weekend. So there's only been 5. 3 of them are Avengers films.
I think it makes a little bit more. I don't think it cracks 200 million opening weekend. I could be wrong though. They're showing this like this is this trailer. It's a big event, right? How many people are watching the fucking NBA playoffs right now?
Yeah, this will get a lot of hits.
That's going to get a lot of views, and it's going to get people excited. And then it's just a little over a month and a half out. I think it opens more, but doesn't crack 200. That's what my
definitely
prediction
beats
is.
Thor Ragnarok, right? Thor Ragnarok 122 opening weekend.
Oh, absolutely. But so it needs to make like 60 million plus more than Thor Ragnarok. But these movies have this momentum that these movies have. You can't even compare the first Doctor Strange to this Doctor Strange. Huge
Doctor
disparity.
Strange's opening weekend was 85.
Right? And now that does 187. Like, what the fuck? And it's all just the momentum. It's the storyline. But I think people they love Korg and Meek. Was Meek in this trailer? I want Meek to be back. I love fucking Korg.
I didn't see any Meek.
I didn't see no Meek.
And yeah, Natalie Portman Thor looks dope. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's going to be 195. I'm going to say 195 for Thor for July.
So Anthony says under 200.
Oh, Anthony said 200. You said 200, Anthony?
I said over 200.
He said over 200.
Over 200.
I'm going to say under 200, more than 187.
I'm going to say 200.
Oh, you're going to be right
in the middle. I want to be
200.
in a sandwich right now.
Shit. All right, we'll see who wins. Back to Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. I have this story about a resurfaced plot leak that when it originally came out, was about 95% accurate and has now resurfaced, and it details two interesting changes. One was the fate of the original Mordo. We saw a variant Mordo. Apparently, the original Mordo in the beginning of the movie, we would have seen Wanda hunting Mordo through the forest, and then she beheads him.
Oh, shit.
Right away to establish that she's the bad guy.
No, that wasn't good.
I don't think that was necessary. So that was a good cut. Ruggs, what do you think about that? Did we want to see the original Mordo? I don't want him dead.
Yeah, like he's a big part of the movie. You can't just kill him off.
His story was
probably
unfinished.
a better idea that they left him in there.
Yeah,
from the first
definitely.
one.
Yeah, because his story is definitely not. He's got his whole little thing where he's hunting sorcerers. So
Yeah, his story was not done. They left it hanging. The other big reveal in this leak is that Bruce Campbell originally, and I believe they filmed both of these things, so we may see these deleted scenes when the movie comes out on streaming or whatever. Bruce Campbell was going to play Thor's brother, Balder the Brave, and be an Illuminati member. Because you notice there was empty chairs in that Illuminati setting. I think there was like one or two empty chairs. And I was wondering who was supposed to sit in those chairs. So maybe we'll see both of these deleted scenes. But yeah, this movie is over $800 million, which is crazy. Every Marvel movie is just going to get bigger and bigger. You know what else is big, listener, is a Jock and Nerd podcast t-shirt. They come in big sizes. They come in little sizes, all sorts of sizes. Visit our TeePublic shop, jockandnerd.com/shop. To get a bunch of swag, we got Rug Boy, we got some sayings, we got the old logo, new logo on a bunch of things, bunch of items, bunch of swag. Buy some stuff. Be a niche hipster supporting the show and sharing the show. Last thing in the news, Stan Lee's estate has made an interesting deal with Marvel here. This is from Hollywood Reporter. In a unique deal, Marvel has signed a 20-year deal with Stanley Universe, which is a venture between Genius Brands International and POW Entertainment, to license the name and likeness of Stan Lee for use in future films and television productions, as well as Disney theme parks, various experiences, and merchandising. I think we all love the Stan Lee cameos. We've been missing them. I don't know if this is a good or bad thing.
Kind of weird,
right? Does this mean we're going to see like digital recreations of Stan Lee like they did with Carrie Fisher and that other guy, Peter Cushing from Star Wars? Or they can use his name, his likeness, his picture,
kind of like
his
Big
voice.
Hero 6 when they have him on the painting over there.
The cameo in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse happened right like after Stan Lee passed away. That movie came out, and that was like a great cameo. And there was digital Stan Lees all over that movie as background. But I don't know if we should be worried that they're going to misuse this. Anthony, do you want to see Stan Lee cameos continue? And if so, in what fashion, now that Marvel can use his likeness for 20 years here?
I don't think so.
I miss them. They're always
they were fun. It's weird that he's dead. And
Right.
I know, it's weird though. Like I say that, and then in Star Wars, I had no problem with Carrie Fisher showing up, and she's dead. And I know there's other characters that have shown up in Star Wars and other movies that have been deceased. But I don't know. I just feel like it'd be weird. I know he's not there. I don't know, there was just something fun about like you knew that he was filming in every movie.
Yeah.
And to kind of continue it would be just like a running gimmick that I would be, I don't know, it's just kind of a little distasteful for me.
I mean, I wouldn't mind like Easter eggs where like he's on a poster in the background, or you see his face, or he's like on a newspaper or something. That would work.
As long as it doesn't pull you out of the movie, I think it's fine. If it's just kind of like seamlessly integrated into the background or an image or something, a voice, I don't know. But as long as it doesn't pull you out of the film.
I mean, the deal includes, likeness and in movies and TV projects, the right to use his name and likeness in theme parks, cruise lines, in-park merchandise, also toys and apparel and stationery. So they could slap his face on everything and start selling Stan Lee t-shirts, which I guess that's not horrible.
Well, I mean, we use Stan Lee all the time.
Oh my God, we do. Here, like, if this isn't legal, I forgot that I had all these Stan Lee drops right here.
Excelsior! Fucking fantastic.
I got him swearing. You know.
The fuck's going on
We're
here?
doing the exact same thing that you're trying to like say, oh, this is going to be weird. We just do it all the time. We use Stan Lee.
I do not have an exclusive licensing agreement, so
I want your head up when I throw my fist in the air.
always while your head up.
Yeah, that's audio that he actually said. These would be like things that they've made out of nothing to put in a movie.
I mean, we've seen them do it with Luke Skywalker, where the lines he delivered, Mark Hamill never said those lines. It was all AI digitized off his voice. I don't know how much audio they have of Stan Lee, where they can make him say whatever. I think they should just hire Ruggs to do all the Stan Lee voices.
Yeah.
Do it. Say Spider-Man and Stan Lee, Ruggs. Everybody loves it.
Spider-Man.
Perfect. Dead on.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit.
Anyways, we'll see how tasteful Marvel uses this in the future. But this is a crazy deal. 20-year deal for his likeness. Okay, let's take a quick break here, gentlemen. Play some promos. And we will come back and review arguably, probably the best MCU movie ever made. We'll find out right after this.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Hey there, everyone. Brian here, host of TV Trivia Pod. It's a trivia-style podcast focusing on TV and movies. Listen in for questions like, what's the name of Michael Scott's screenplay? What do you say to view the Marauders map? And what's everyone eating in the post-credit scene of Avengers? Play along to TV Trivia Pod anywhere you get podcasts. And stay tuned for more trivia.
Check out what's been going on with the Pop Culture Cosmos Show and the PCC Multiverse.
I see the potential for basically like another Netflix kind of paradigm shift where here comes this other major player. They have a ton of resources. Apple could change the way that entertainment is consumed.
They say it's the only time this year that you'll have stars from each brand battling each other, and we know it's not going to be the case, but they like to say that, and more power to them, I guess.
Well, it's a big first step, bringing all those superheroes together. There were definitely some parts of the movie that I really enjoyed, and then there were some parts that I thought just kind of fell short of expectation.
Part of it has to be something to do with how it's being promoted, and this is a thing where audiences do not agree with critics.
That's the Pop Culture Cosmos Show.
And the PCC Multiverse, every week on Apple Podcasts.
And over a dozen of your favorite streaming and podcasting options.
And nerd.
Fucking fantastic.
That's right, Stan. Our Jock and Nerd fan club is fucking fantastic. Listen to the man himself as I reappropriate his sound clips for our own financial gain. Listener, if you enjoyed the show, join our fan club. Visit jockandnerd.com/Patreon. You can support the show on a monthly or annual basis and get bonus content. You get access to a bonus RSS feed that has extra shows, bonus content, post shows, instant reactions. The shows come out early. You can hear Anthony review a bunch of 80s movies that are all up on there now. Lots of fun. You also get Discord benefits. You can join our monthly geek hangout just for our Patreon subscribers. The next one, tentatively scheduled for June 23rd, Thursday, 8 p.m. Central Time. We just had one last week, and everybody was there. Anthony, you were there, and you got to meet the legend, didn't you?
Yeah. What's his name?
Benjamin Wesley Cranford III.
Such a legend. You can't remember Wes Cranford from Australia.
He's fucking around with you.
We had both Cranfords there, Wes and Ethan, and we kept telling Wes he was a legend as Ethan rolled his eyes so hard that I think he passed out for a second.
But you don't see. The thing is, he's in the prime of his life. He's young. He has no idea what it's like to be, past 30 years old and approaching you're in your middle age and you're still can still do shit.
I can only hope to be in as good shape as I am as he is. It's never going to happen. Wes makes it look good.
Still getting out there, still having fun, still has like a rosy attitude.
I'm a big Ethan Cranford fan too. That kid's great.
No. I'm just saying, the perspective at that age, you don't really understand, how much of life beats you down by the time you're in your 40s.
That's right. Anthony, you'll get there eventually.
Anthony's a legend in his own right, so he's
was two legends on the Discord hangout. Like,
Yeah.
you got to sign up for that.
legend. But Anthony was recognizing Wesley's legendariness, so that was actually nice to see.
Game sees game. Is that the same?
Yeah, that's right.
Is that what the kids say? There's also a You Pick It tier where you can pick any movie to force us to watch and review. Lots of fun over on the Patreon. Join it today, jockandnerd.com/Patreon. Okay, let's get to this week's review. By popular demand, we are going to be reviewing Captain America, The Winter Soldier from 2014. Here is your spoiler alert.
Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
Prepare to be spoiled!
For the first
Oh,
time,
apropos.
it lines up with the movie we're reviewing. And this one I'm going to dedicate to our entire Facebook group, all our listeners, Jock and Nerd Nation. It is a movie people thought we had already done. People were looking for. We'll get into that in the News from the Nation, but I think it was a good choice to do it this week. It seemed like everybody had been waiting for this. So dedicated to Jock and Nerd Nation.
I think the first Marvel movie we reviewed was Age of Ultron.
Correct. Age of Ultron. And then we've reviewed every Marvel movie since Age of Ultron.
Right.
Moving forward, we were not podcasting when Winter Soldier came out in 2014. But that's why we're here. This is the 9th MCU movie. We got to go all the way back to Phase 2. And remember where we were in between the same year before this movie, Thor: The Dark World had come out. And following this movie was Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1. So this is back when Marvel was giving us just 2 movies a year. You know, nice pace. Now it's like 3 or 4, or I think we're getting 4 this year.
We're getting 3 this year. We got 4 last year.
We got 4 last year, but isn't Black Panther also coming out? So wouldn't that make it 4?
No, that would make it 3. There's only been 2, so 1 so far.
No Way Home was last year, calendar year. I forgot. I thought that was this year.
No.
My bad. So now we're getting 3 a year is great. The budget, on Rotten Tomatoes, this movie currently holding a solid 90% tomato meter, 7.6 out of 10 average rating. The budget for this movie, $170 million. It makes $95 million opening weekend, finishing its run domestic at $259 million total and worldwide at $714 million. This was the 7th highest grossing film of 2014. Also won an Academy Award for Best Visual Effects that year. I did not know that. I forgot about that. Of course, the movie directed by the Russo brothers, Joe and Anthony Russo, their first MCU movie. And literally, the last thing they had done was the TV show Community. And then they do this and go on to do, Captain America Civil War, the Avengers movies, and some amazing movies. And written by Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely, who are a perfect team with the Russo brothers. They also worked on First Avenger, Thor 2 with Christopher Yost, and wrote Civil War. Starring Chris Evans as his 3rd time playing Captain America, as well as you got Sam Jackson, Scarlett Johansson, Robert Redford, Sebastian Stan, Anthony Mackie, Colby Smulders, Frank Grillo, Ruggs.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Remember? Emily Van Camp as Sharon Carter, Haley Atwell's in this, Toby Jones. There is a Stan Lee cameo, like we were just talking about, of course, and it's a pretty good one. Anthony,
Yes.
what happens? What happens in Captain America: Winter Soldier? Where are we in the MCU, and where does this take us?
Well, I think you put us, kind of aligned us, but I think we are obviously post Avengers, and Cap has been around now, and he's still trying to navigate his way in the modern world. He's gone back to being a soldier for S.H.I.E.L.D., but he doesn't exactly trust S.H.I.E.L.D. He doesn't exactly always agree with their ways, and he's kind of lost in that sense, but he's found friends in Anthony Mackie's Falcon, and he's dealing with a relationship with Black Widow, not a sexual relationship, but a different relationship.
Yeah. Friends, really.
He's trying to figure out if she's her friend, and he's trying to figure out if Nick Fury's his friend. And in the middle of all this is basically a poison within S.H.I.E.L.D. that is taking it apart from the inside, and Cap's trying to figure out what's going on, while also dealing with the fact that there's this mysterious Winter Soldier character that is someone from his past.
Yeah, and it's told as a taut 70s type thriller spy espionage movie in the vein of what are those movies that are always mentioned? 3 Days of the Condor, The Parallax View, I think. But in that vein, and it, essentially is like a thriller movie that just happens to have superheroes in it, lots of twists and turns. Let's just everybody's seen this movie. We've seen it multiple times. Let's just start with some of our favorite moments. Ruggs, any moment that sticks out to you from this movie that you always remember?
I like the opening, that whole thing on the ship with Batroc, and Scarlett Johansson looks amazing in this movie, and she's doing really well. And that first scene with the Winter Soldier attacking, and that's just it gave me Terminator vibes.
Oh yeah.
Like it felt like impending doom. I was like, oh shit, like this guy's gonna fuck everyone up. And it was done really stylishly. I felt like it had some Cameron DNA in it, and I really liked it. It had that flair that Cameron would bring to action sequences. And that's when I knew that like the Russos were some new shit. Like you don't want to fuck with them. They know what they're doing. And I was very excited for the future of Marvel after seeing some of these scenes, especially the action sequences. They're top notch.
I mean, George St. Pierre as Batroc, they take kind of a silly character from the comics, Batroc the Leaper, and make him formidable. But every action scene has this amazing tension, this amazing forward movement. You white knuckle the couch, the sofa you're sitting in, right? When you watch it, your heart starts beating faster. The stylish way this thing is shot from the very beginning is just phenomenal. Anthony, any favorite moments? Where do you want to start?
I mean, the movie is. I rewatched it yesterday. The movie still holds up. It's still
absolutely
really freaking good. Favorite moments? I think just going back to like when we first saw it in the movie theater. Me and you actually waited out. I think we got an early showing and we waited out 3 or 4 hours in line.
Yeah, there was one of those premieres.
Yeah. So we saw it early, and it was one of those things where, you're coming off Thor: The Dark World. You're first off, you have to like rewind back to then, but Avengers is this big success, and then Iron Man 3 comes out, and it's some people hate it, some people love it. Thor: The Dark World comes out, and it's just an average movie. So you're like, man, does Marvel really know what they're doing post Avengers? And then this movie comes out, and it's just completely unexpected with, the Russo brothers directing, who, have only done TV shows, and You, Me, and Dupree, I think.
Yeah.
And you see this movie, you're like, holy shit, this is freaking awesome. Like, the way they were able to nail the tone, I think, is one of the best aspects of this movie. Is just the tone is perfect throughout, where it's, as you mentioned, like kind of this spy espionage thriller, but then you have hints of like Terminator vibes with Winter Soldier, and you have Captain America, who, a lot of people were like, man, does he work? Like he worked in that throwback movie because it's from the 40s, and like good versus evil is very defined, but like can you throw that character in a modern time? It's like a resounding yes. Like you can definitely have this character in a modern time, and he feels like he's doing the right things, but he's doing it to his like own code. And even though like you may not even agree with him, he's pretty unwavering, and you have to respect the viewpoint he brings to everything. So like as far as favorite moments, some of the stuff Ruggs said, I think the opening on the ship right away establishes like Cap's cool. Like this is a fucking cool character still. Like really cool actually. You're getting the Bourne vibes, and then like I think the first time Winter Soldier shows up and assassinates Nick Fury, and Cap looks through the window, he's like, I'm on his tail, and he just starts running through like doors.
Yeah,
bashing the doors open.
He's
like you're
running
just,
through a
shit.
building, literally.
Yeah, that's awesome. The scene on the bridge where they have Sitwell in the car, and then all of a sudden they're like, you hear a thump on the car, and all of a sudden you just see the steering wheel get ripped out of the fucking car as it's going.
He can't steer, and he pulls Sitwell out and throws him into a truck, and just he's smushed instantly. You're like, oh fuck.
There's the scene that whole bridge chase sequence is amazing. The Winter Soldier picks up a like a grenade launcher or something along those lines, and he shoots it, and Cap hits it with a shield and gets knocked off the bridge through a bus. The bus tips over, and it's just like, holy shit. And like all this stuff is like, I think a lot of it's filmed on screen, which is really well done. I mean, there's so many scenes. One more that I can think of is when Cap and Winter Soldier are fighting the first time, and Cap and Winter Soldier, you see they meet, and the arm hits the shield. It's like, dong. It's like, I mean, there's so many good things like they do, and I can go on and on about great scenes, but I think overall, and we can dive into it, but like, this is a really fucking good movie. This is like one of the best. This is obviously one of the best Marvels done, and I think one of the main reasons is because they were able to nail a specific tone, and they do throw in the jokes, but it's not like Shang-Chi. I think could have been really great, but it gets derailed with the jokes. Whereas this one, they're like, we know the formula with Tony is for there to be a lot of jokes, but with Cap, it's got to be a little bit more serious, and they nailed that.
And the joke lines, they work. Like, they stick out because they don't use them a lot, and you chuckle,
They're
and you're
subtle.
like, they're subtle, and there's some funny scenes.
They're used at the right time.
Yeah, they're not
relief.
It's not overdone. Some of my favorite shit, like right from the beginning, the whole on your left bit is amazing to show how fast Cap runs, the introduction to Sam Wilson, and then the callback in Endgame, it becomes a very important scene. Nick Fury's action scene where he is attacked in the car.
That's great.
That's fucking great, dude. That car. And then here's like talking about jokes. Like, there's a great bit where he's like, does anything work in this car? And the car's like, air conditioning is fully operational. And you're like, they threw in a joke in this crazy scene, but it totally worked. That scene you're like, how's he going to get out of this? There's very little things I can nitpick. I can think of like one or two things that I'm like, really? I don't know about this. But it is, watching it again, it is almost a fucking perfect movie. You have the elevator scene from our spoiler clip that we just, and the way that's shot, the way he's looking around, he sees people get nervous and they're starting to sweat and they're putting their hands on their weapons, and he knows exactly what's going down, and then just takes everybody out. This is the first time you see him use his shield, I think, as a throwing weapon.
No.
A lot. I don't think, did he do that before? Yeah. He does it.
Yeah.
I think the way they did it in this is even
it's just
better.
more visceral. Yeah.
It's so visceral the way it bounces back and he's catching it and the way he uses the shield. I even love that moment in the Batroc scene where he's like, I thought you were more than just a shield. And he fucking drops his shield, takes his fucking helmet off. He's like, let's go.
Badass character. The elevator scene where he looks around, he's like, before we get started, does anyone want to get off?
Yeah.
It's
so great.
They give him really awesome lines.
I also think that not only is Cap great in this, but like the nuts and bolts of the story are actually pretty solid, right?
Yep.
So you have Cap, who doesn't really trust what's going on, but he's loyal to the cause. But he should not trust, because there's a fucking whole infestation of Hydra that's like in every corner, like in the UN, in the fucking government, everywhere. You have this villain who is Robert Redford's character. I don't remember what his name is.
Alexander Pierce. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's played very well. And like you feel like that, they're friends, and Cap trusts him kinda and whatever. So it's like, there's a lot at play here. And then you got the Winter Soldier, who is like his friend from growing up, and that ends up being the bad guy. So there's a lot at play here. And then you got Scarlett Johansson as the Black Widow, who's kind of like his friend, but he doesn't trust her either.
Right.
And then there's this new girl that he bumps into, which is Peggy Carter's like niece.
Yep.
And that's a little convenient. There's a lot going on there.
I like the line. Like, I wrote down, this movie does a really good job with characters. So you have him and Natasha, you have him and Fury, then you have him and Peggy, and you have him and Sam, and then you have Fury and Pierce. Like, they do, and every character that they introduce or build on, it's all interesting. Like him and Natasha, there's a scene where they're in the car, and she's like, I can be whatever you want me to be or whatever you want. And he's like, how about a friend? Like, and he's just like, they're so like by the end of the movie, you're like, oh, they are friends. But in the beginning of the movie, he's like, can't trust her because she's doing her own side missions and she's untrustworthy. But then you throw in Sam, who's like perfect, right? Like they make him, he's a soldier. And right away, you're like, oh, him and Cap get along because they have that shared military background. And Sam just wants to do good. And he's literally they book the scene where he shows up at Sam's place and he's like,
oh yeah,
you don't have to do this. You don't have to be with it. He's like, I'm paraphrasing, but he's like, I've like Captain America's calling me. I need to do this. And they make Falcon a really cool character. That's a lame ass character from the comics, and they make him really cool in this one. And you have the dichotomy between him and Cap and Nick Fury, and then you forget. I forgot that like they don't introduce Winter Soldier as like who he is until like midway through the film.
Yep.
So, like the first half of the film is all this just like mystery about like who shot Nick Fury, what's going on, like what's going on with S.H.I.E.L.D. Did Nick Fury call a hit on himself? Is Nick Fury the bad guy? Is Alexander Pierce? And then you get that reveal in the bunker that oh shit, it's Hydra's been here all along. They do a really good job of like pacing the story so that like the first half is interesting with the mystery, then the second half is like oh fuck. Now this movie's not only stopping Hydra, but it's also a battle for like Cap personally to get his friend back. So there's like, it's not just this like big third act like saving the world, but it's like also very personal.
No Marvel movie is free of plot holes. I mean, this one also has them, but it's just written on a whole different level than all the newer movies that we've seen. It's written much better because, as you mentioned, all these things are at play. All these things give you a better idea of Cap, and all the other characters are serviced well by this story as well. Like Nick Fury, you learn a lot about Nick Fury, and you have the kind of the inner workings of S.H.I.E.L.D. and what they're up to. It's a very good character driven film,
right?
Even side characters like Brock Rumlow, Frank Grillo, they set up Crossbones. You got Zola coming back and in a nod to his original comic book, version.
Yeah.
The basic concept in the beginning, I find it's so fascinating where he's defending his generation, his morals, and he's a guy that follows orders, takes orders, has solace in taking orders. What happened when those orders change and get shady and you did not change? The great conversation in the beginning with Nick Fury where he's explaining the helicarriers that they're going to neutralize threats before they happen. This is where the world is now. He's like, you look at the way the world was then. I'm looking at the way the world is now. And I remember originally when they killed Nick Fury, I was like, oh, fuck, they fucking killed Fury? Like, it almost got you.
Right. Well, they do a really good job, too, where, like, most movies, the protagonist comes to a point and he changes, right, for the better.
Yeah.
But the way they write Cap is...
he never changes.
He's the straight, right? Like, he's the hurricane, and everyone's bouncing off of him. Like, he's the one that's forcing everyone else to change around him because he's so unwavering in his belief of, like, what's right and what's wrong. So, like, everyone around him changes because of him. Like, Scarlet changes, Nick Fury changes, Falcon changes, Winter Soldier changes. They all change because he's just this like fucking force.
He's the moral anchor.
Yeah, he drives everything, but he doesn't change, which is like an interesting way to write a protagonist character.
Even like all the action scenes, what I also love about this movie,
great.
like when he takes down the Quinjet, just the way he moves and uses his shield is exactly what I pictured when you read like Captain America comics, right? You're like, that's exactly.
It's better than
I was going to say. It's cooler than that.
Yeah, it is. I mean, but it's like that's exactly what would happen. Just like the first time I saw Spider-Man swinging on a big screen in live action, I'm like, that's what it would fucking look like. Holy shit!
Had to find a way to relate it to Spider-Man.
Of course,
son of a bitch.
Always.
Well, the action's really good. I mean, they do the shaky can stuff, but it's not so like distracting where you're like, oh, like they're clearly hiding things here.
There's a lot of cuts in the fight scenes, but you can follow everything.
You can follow it, right?
Yeah.
You can definitely follow it. And I mean, there's some like that middle fight scene where they're fighting in the street with Winter Soldier and Cap. I mean, a lot of that you can tell is like Chris Evans on screen.
Yeah.
But it's just like you can tell that this was shot on a street in like DC or somewhere. Right, they don't do a ton of green screen stuff. I'm sure there's a lot of CGI that I don't know about, but you can feel like this one's very
and that's
visceral.
good.
Yeah, very good.
No, there's definitely visual effects, but there's a ton of practical effects, and
I think the best effects are the ones you don't see.
Yeah,
and I mean those chase scenes, you can tell those are happening.
Yeah,
you know, like I was just like, holy shit, they like busted up a shit ton of cars in this movie. I forgot that happened.
I love when he sees him and when his mask comes off, he's just like, Bucky. And it just fucks him up. And then back to the comedy, the scene with the Apple store with that dude. And he's just like, I've been Aaron. I'll be over here. Like just little funny moments like that.
Specimen.
And I love, we have the red-haired, straight-haired Scarlett Johansson, like Black Widow, looks great in this movie. Her fighting style is amazing. She's badass.
Well, what's cool about her is she can fight, right? But that like mall scene is a great bit of character because Cap notices that people are stalking them. He's like, "There's two up there." Blah blah blah. I'll engage.
Yeah.
And she's like, way like levels ahead in terms of like disarming everything. And she's like, "No, we're like, laugh at my joke, kiss me on the elevator."
Yeah.
Like she's like you realize about her character. Oh, like she's just smarter than everybody out here right now. And she's not going to get into a fight if she doesn't need to. Whereas Cap is like gung ho, like let's get these fucking guys. I see them.
No, she's all spy move. No, and I like that conversation in the car you talked about. I love that because here's a guy who knew who he was. He is a center, but he's kind of lost. And here is a woman who will be whatever you want her to be. You don't really know who she is. She doesn't really know because she's played whatever people want her whole life, and that's how she's gotten there. Just that dichotomy is amazing.
Well, even like the little bits in the beginning, right? So he's catching up on life, and you do the scene with him and old Peggy, which is like heartbreaking because she has Alzheimer's. And he's missed this entire life with her, and then he sees Sam after, and Sam says something along the lines of, I think I wrote it down. What makes you happy? To Steve.
Yeah.
And Steve, he goes, and like at this point, the girl that he was always going for has Alzheimer's, isn't going to remember everything, and he has he's lost in the military, like he doesn't have really anyone he's serving, and he says, I don't know, and it cuts, and it's like, oh, like this movie is about like Steve trying to figure out what Captain America means in this world,
or what a good soldier is in this world.
Right.
Do you just blindly follow orders? His whole world gets turned upside down. And then there's a little bit of a ticking clock element at the end, which is fine. It actually works where they're changing the
doomsday clock, whatever.
They have to change the controller chips before they sync up to satellites, blah, blah, blah.
Well, but it works because you have that. So you have the ticking clock, but then again, you have him also having to fight the guy that he doesn't want to fight.
Yeah, and he's trying to get him to remember. He's like, I'm not going to fight you. And then that's a great moment where he falls into the water, and then later you see him being pulled out of the water by Bucky as Bucky has kind of started to remember.
Well, that scene right before where he's getting beaten, his face beaten, and
he's just getting pummeled,
and he's like,
"I'll be with you to the end of the line."
Yeah,
he says
like
the line.
He goes like, "Then finish it because I'll be with you till the end of the line."
Yeah.
The only drawback about this movie is the last movie, because the last movie doesn't do a good enough job of establishing the relationship between Bucky and Cap, where you're like, oh, I really want Bucky to be redeemed here.
In Civil War, you mean?
No, the last movie, First Avenger.
The first movie.
Because
okay.
half of that movie, Bucky is sidelined in jail or like as a POW or gets killed.
Yeah.
So you don't really, like, other than a few scenes, you don't get a good feel for like who Bucky is and why he's so important to Cap. Like they do. That's why they had to throw in that flashback scene, where he's like, I'm with you to the end of, like, they had to throw in a line that he had said previously in the previous movie, but actually he had never said in the movie, so that they can build on that later at the end with the end of the line.
And then you think about his journey, and like we just saw him in Falcon and Winter Soldier, and Sam, like how they've changed, and now he's Captain America. Like that's fun to see the journey of this character.
Well, it's like Sam's character, just like you get more of like why Cap is awesome, because Sam's just like, I'm doing what he's doing.
Yeah.
Like Nick Fury is like, like, what do you think about Shield? And he's like, don't look at me. I do what he does. And then like later on, he's like, Sam's running with, like, how are we going to know the good guys from the bad? If they're bad, they're shooting at us. It's like, all right. Like, he just is like, Sam's reverence for Steve makes you go, oh man, like Steve is a fucking legend right now.
It's inspiring.
Right.
Yeah. He's walking around. Nobody recognizes him when he's walking around in just a hat. The only other problem I had was like when I watched the scene where he hides the USB in the vending machine.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, it's pretty dumb.
How the fuck did he get it in there? And what if somebody fucking bought 3 candy bars? You're shit out of luck.
That's
like
what,
right
that's
after
what
you
Black
left.
Widow does.
She does. She luckily she goes
Because
right
they cut
afterwards.
to her and she's blowing a piece of bubble gum.
Yeah, she. But somebody else could have beat her to it. What are you doing?
Right.
But that was really about it. I think that I was like, maybe the Fury faking his death with the stops his heartbeat. I mean, he was laying there for a while.
Yeah, I mean that you can definitely poke holes at that.
Right.
But for a comic book movie, it's nearly perfect.
Yeah, I mean, it does a lot, but the weirdest thing about this movie is that the movie that they make after it with Civil War, this character in this movie learns that Hydra has infected everything, and you can't trust the government. And then the next movie's like, oh, we gotta fucking do what the Sokovia Accords say. we gotta. This fucking corrupt government can tell me to do whatever they want. I guess.
No, that's the Cap is not against that.
Yeah, I thought he was on the other side.
Iron Man is for that.
Yeah, Iron Man is.
Well, that's
for
why
it.
he's on the run, and everything falls apart. And this is when like Black Widow goes on the run too. Right after this.
They don't go on the run. This is when they reveal S.H.I.E.L.D., but then the next movie is Avengers Age of Ultron, where they're all together.
Oh, speaking of which, we got the 2 post-credit scenes. You have the first appearance of Elizabeth Olsen as Wanda and Pietro.
Kind of timely after we've reviewed some Multiverse of Madness.
As miracles that Von Struck calls him at the end, and he's got the Loki scepter. And then the little end scene where you see Bucky at the Captain America museum. Even though the museum scenes, like, it's fascinating that how they position the world to think about Captain America and the history and the Howling Commandos, and he has to now operate in this, and he's there, and only the one little kid notices that's him, but he's seeing his whole history. He can go back.
The way that they did it in the first Avenger, it would seem like it would have some impact. I mean, the dude was going all over the country, selling war bonds, and then he actually went into the war. That would have been a big story. That would have been huge.
Yeah, and he saved New York from getting bombed.
Yeah, and he sacrificed himself. So, I mean, if that doesn't make the news, that doesn't make a museum, I don't know what's supposed to.
Yeah, I agree with that. There's also like the music is really good. I think the score. Yes. I don't know who does the score for this, but it's really fucking good. They do a good job of blending like the patriotism with the thriller, and then the Terminator vibes, like
there's like industrial music every time Winter Soldier shows up. There's like a metallic kind of sound to represent him. It's really well done.
Yeah, and I think it adds to, I mentioned the tone, but just like the overall, there's like just an edge to this movie that isn't really prevalent in a lot of Marvel films, where it's just like, oh, the punches hurt, people can die, and we don't know what the fuck's going on. Like, I wrote down
it feels more serious.
Yeah,
just
absolutely.
In general.
There's a scene where, and I'm like, holy shit, this was in a Marvel film, where Pierce is in his house and he's talking to the Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Yes. And the
poor Renata.
Yeah, the cleaning lady forgot her phone, so she comes back in and he's like, oh, I wish you would have knocked. And they like silently cut to like another space where he's just shooting the fucking Pierce is shooting the innocent cleaning lady because she walked in on them with like 3 shots, and she just see her fall over, and you're like, holy fuck. Like, there's a mean streak to this movie that I didn't realize was here, or I forgot that was here. It just adds to this edge of like, oh, like this movie's a little bit more serious than these other ones.
So that's a good segue to, I found this article from filminquiry.com, and the title is "The MCU is best when it isn't making superhero movies." It cites how, in the MCU, every movie is either like it's an origin story or it's a MacGuffin hunt / chase kind of thing, right? But then it cites movies like this one, Winter Soldier and Doctor Strange, how their first thrillers, or it's a horror movie, or it's a paranoia thriller. It just happens to have superheroes, Marvel heroes. So, and even Thor Ragnarok, which is like a comedy first and a superhero movie second, is, I would like to see, I thought this was going to be their game plan, was they're going to make superhero movies that aren't quote unquote superhero movies. Their other genres just happen to have superhero movies. They've done that here and there and nailed it, but there's a lot of origin movies. So are they best when they're trying to do something like this instead of a straight up superhero movie?
I think that the fact that they're trying to do this like spy, kind of a spy thriller, intrigue film versus a MacGuffin chaser, like it's about stuff that's close to home. Like we do have a mistrust of the government. We do know that there's potentially people happening right now hacking into us and feeding disinformation. All this type of stuff is happening. And that's why it's even more poignant to watch it now and relate a lot of this stuff. So yeah, they're not making a superhero movie. They're making a movie that we can relate to on so many other levels than it being just a good versus evil thing. So I think, yes, it does make it a better film when they do make it more than just a superhero film.
I would add that origin films in and of itself are inherently bogged down because you have to establish who this guy is and all that, and you can't really dive into the story until you establish, how he got his powers, blah, 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 how he or she got their powers. So I think origin stories are inherently a little bit more superhero-y than other stories, but I think it still comes down to, like, good directors, good writers, and a well-made movie, because you could point to Spider-Man Far From Home, and like looking back on that, that's just like a field trip movie with high schoolers, and that's not that great.
Right.
So it's not really like there's a specific code to, like, if they don't make if it's a sequel, then it's going to be good because it's not an origin story. I think it just comes down to, like, good writing, good directing, and having an intriguing plot and good acting. And I think it just comes down to classic movie making rather than superhero movie bad. But if they make a genre film with superhero characters, that's going to be good. Like, I think
that the point is that there's a trope. There's tropes everywhere, and superhero movies have all of their tropes. And if you try and do something a little bit different and you kind of deviate from, the formula, you might get something interesting.
Yeah, I agree. I'd say Multiverse of Madness, like, you have a lot of people that really like that.
Yeah.
But then you had a lot of people who were like, I didn't walk in for a horror film. What are we doing here?
Yeah. But
so
horror
you can't
people
win,
love
right?
it. Yeah.
It's a delicate balance.
It's very delicate.
That was always the problem with the origin movies for me, was like, because I knew the origin, I was like, great, this is done. I can't wait for the second movie when you could just jump in.
See, I'm on the other side of the fence. I love origin films. I just don't like that they redo them all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I hate when they make them. This is what happens. To me, I think that they rush the origin to get to the action part of the movie. But sometimes the metamorphosis of the character, because of whatever catalyst that changes them, is interesting to me. But they never really explore it. They just kind of like, it's a formality we have to get to so we can get to this thing. It always feels
like a formality.
So
yeah,
the origin is not a bad thing. I think the origin is a great thing. I mean, just think about every origin that we've seen. Like a kid who comes from another planet has to freaking find out that he's an alien, and then goes and talks to a hologram of his dad that tells him the whole history of his life. I think that's like interesting shit.
Yeah, classic.
Like, it's so interesting. It's so, there's no MacGuffin there.
Right.
It's just like, all right, you're finding out about this person's, like, now interesting situation that in and of itself is a story. but what they do is they just kind of like, all right, we're gonna get this over in like half hour. Let's go through it, and then all of a sudden, we're gonna have a big fight scene and there's some big CGI bullshit that's gonna happen.
But what they've done here, when this came out, I was like, this is what I always kind of envisioned a superhero franchise to look like. That it's not a superhero movie. It is a genre movie, and they just happen to have powers. And this is always what I wanted Marvel to do. And they nail it in a few. I wish they would do more attempts at something like this. It easily still holds up.
Well, you think about it, like you have a very cheesy character, like just like Superman's very cheesy.
Yeah.
You know, he's like this big Boy Scout, and to make Cap cool and palatable, and not only that, but like figure out how to shoot the action and make Cap like unique in his own way and different than Spider-Man, different than he's got his own signature way of moving. He's got his own signature like weapon that he uses and all that stuff. It was completely realized in this film, like to the best. They tried it in the movie before. They did it in Avengers, but here is where they locked it down.
Yep.
So it succeeds because everything's done so well. It's just done with so much care. So it does come through. It does come through.
I agree. I completely agree. Henry Jackman was the
music by Henry Jackman, who I don't know what else he's done. That's a very good score. And then just seeing Sharon Carter from where she started to now she's the fucking power broker, I guess. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, the evolution of these characters from here is fun to look at.
I mean, the whole movie, the action, the style, the way it's shot, the way it's directed, it's so tense. It's just perfect. I don't know. Yeah.
It's really good.
Should we rate it? Do we do it?
Yeah.
Do we rate it?
I mean,
absolutely.
This is obviously famously comes up as number one on a lot of people's favorite MC movies. Anthony, rate this movie. Give it a number. What would you give it? Where would you put it?
After watching it again, I have to give it a 9.5.
Oh,
I think the only drawback is what I mentioned earlier with Winter Soldier, where they just didn't build that character up enough in the previous movie to make me go, oh, like this is all like this is why I understand him and Cap's relationship. Yeah, 9.5, and I looking at my rankings, I have it third overall within the MCU. And the two movies I have ahead of it aren't actually better films. It's just I like they were more stand-up enjoy moments.
Which is Endgame?
Endgame and the original Avengers is what I have.
Oh, the first Avengers, man. All right, Ruggs, what would you do? Where would you give it?
I'm going to put this as the top of my list.
Oh, okay.
Iron Man's close second to me. And then you got Endgame and then you got the Avengers. Yeah, I just think that it perfects so many things that they were working on with Cap, and it's good to see that they nailed something. And they really nailed it. Like they really nailed like every aspect of how to make this movie. Just like kind of like Spider-Man 2 nailed Spider-Man, like as best as it's been done thus far. Like this nails Captain America, the best that it's done. Like at this point,
easily the best Captain America movie. Yes,
and the characters and his place in the world and all of that stuff is just done so well. The action they nailed that. The script being like somewhat respectably written, and like that. The characters all have moments. So I think it's probably the best, like pound for pound Marvel movie that they made as far as like all that. I'm going to give it a 9. It's on some days I think it's a 10.
Yeah,
but like I never want to give a movie a perfect score, so I'm gonna give it a solid 9. Like I could stand behind that. Like in the I know it's always gonna be highly regarded as a film.
Yeah, so watching it again was a joy, and it's still just thrilling. I'm gonna give it a 9 too, and I think I will put it. Fuck, I'm torn with number 1 or 2. I think I will give it 2, and I think I want to put Avengers Endgame at 1, just because they closed It was a closing of 22 movies. And I didn't think that was possible, but they managed to hit all 22 movies that came before, which is crazy. And the theater experience was amazing. So I put this second, but I can easily see why people will put it number one. It's a damn near perfect fucking movie all around, outside of just being, a Captain America superhero movie.
Right.
So good stuff. Let's find out what the nation thought about this movie.
It's time for news from the nation.
It's time for news from the nation.
It stinks. It stinks. It stinks.
So, like I said, people were excited when I posted that we're reviewing this movie. Leave your thoughts and comments. We got a couple of thoughts. Most of the comment was, it's about time. That's what John Bellotti Jr. commented. About time. Joe Henry says, one of my top Marvel films classic. What is everyone's thoughts on the fight choreography? Some of the best fight choreography you're going to see in any of these movies.
It's pretty fucking solid.
I don't know.
Yeah,
that's really good.
Have we seen anything better since then? Maybe
nothing that visceral. I would say the fight choreography in Shang-Chi is pretty good.
Yeah.
But then they get away from it.
I think that they edited it pretty well too, even though they do a lot of cuts.
Yeah. In this one,
the fight scene.
you can follow everything.
It's very easy to follow. Whereas sometimes when you have like a Michael Bay, like a shaky cam going on, like you can't tell what the fuck is going on at all. So I think they were a little bit more, in control of their shots here and how it read.
I mean, that elevator scene, right? Enclosed space, glass windows. Yeah. And you have the whole little bit with the collar that's magnetic that he's got to break away and he's getting tased. And sometimes it cuts from the outside. You could follow every movement, every action that happens in this fucking elevator. No problem. And that's not easy to do and make it look good.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
Yeah, it's top notch. Jimmy the Greek Graben checking in. He says, man, this is awesome. You guys could do an MCU retrospect and review all films prior to the podcast starting. Just an idea from a charter fan club member. He makes a good point. That's why people were going back in the feed and they were like, I swore you guys reviewed this. And I was like, no. We weren't podcasting when this came out. It's the only reason we didn't. Do some of these movies I think do deserve going back and a proper review, like your Avengers and the first Iron Man, right before pre-2015.
Before we die, we'll do that at some point.
Yes, at some point it'll happen. Jimmy
Oh my God.
Blake Braden says, finally. Daryl K said, wait, this got missed when it came out. I didn't know that. Wes Cranford, the legend, Anthony, had the most to say. Your boy says, this is hands down my favorite Marvel film. I also think it's a quality standalone film as well. Ironic that Captain America was the main character I always read from Marvel. I feel the same about him as you do, Imran, about Spider-Man. I was actually very apprehensive when they announced doing Cap as a standalone movie. I did not see how they could pull off its righteousness in the current global feelings towards the U.S., but was pleasantly surprised with the first movie and blown away with how they treated his disillusion with America in his comic arc of the 70s. And yeah, he says Chris Evans is Cap. Do we think he will ever come? They'll bring this back, or is Sam now Captain America? Will we ever see Chris Evans back in the Captain America outfit? Is there a possibility, a world
Anything's possible
where this could happen? I wouldn't be mad at it. Also,
yeah, I wouldn't be mad.
I wouldn't mind, but it's nice to see that
America's ass.
So the other great thing were the lines where he's with old Peggy. She says, you can't go back and live your life over again, and right? Something to that effect. And then you think about the fact, and he goes, you still owe me a dance. And you think about the fact that he does indeed go back, gets the dance, and live his life over again with her.
Yeah, that's what I meant when I said earlier, Sam goes, well, what makes you happy? Or what and he goes, I don't know. And this whole run, he's been doing things for everyone else, and then he finally gets it at the end where he can live with her. So yeah, it's a great arc.
It's a great arc. Do you think this is the best Black Widow appearance in any movie?
I'd say this or Avengers.
This made me like her more than in the Iron Man film.
Oh, for sure. The Iron Man film's not a great portrayal. The Avengers in this one really rehabbed her.
Yeah.
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 And they showed her like her ingenuity and how she's not just the like femme fatale, like super like stronger and like no emotion, better than everybody. It's like, oh, she's smart, has feelings, has vulnerabilities, and is just kick ass as well.
I mean, I love that whole bit with where she's in disguise as the councilwoman at the end. Like, I remember that being I was like, oh shit, I can't believe that was that was a great twist. You didn't see that coming in the crazy technology. And then the fact that Robert Redford was in like 3 Days of the Condor, the fact that they got him, who was originally in the movies that they are inspired by, was just a nice touch. And he's very good in this. Good stuff. Okay, Justin Zwerner posted Umbrella Academy season 3 trailer. He says this looks fun. Anybody get a chance to watch this?
I did
as well.
Oh, what do you guys think? I'm pretty geek to see this come back. It's going to come out June 22nd. Ruggs, what do you think? Are you excited? What'd you like?
The Sparrows.
The Sparrow Academy. They fucked with time so much. Remember in the last one, they come back.
Yeah.
Everything's different.
Yeah, there's a lot of they're like fighting each versions of themselves, versions that are they've been replaced by other kids. Like I think the whole show is built on the fact that there's a bunch of kids that were born weird, right? And then this one guy goes and collects them all, and like kind of like Charles Xavier, and raises them in a home to like save the world. But in this version, they fuck with time and everything. That when they pop back into a universe, they are not the kids that were selected. The other kids were selected, and these are the Sparrows. So it's kind of like an interesting thing for them to be dealing with. It's and you do see that there's a post credit of the monkey.
Oh, Pogo is back, and he's wearing like a biker leather jacket, like a Sons of Anarchy jacket or something.
Yeah.
Giving tattoos. I was glad because I love Pogo. They fucking killed him in that last season. I love the line where is it number 5? Who's the cool one? Is that 6, 7? What's his number?
I don't know.
I think it's
the
5.
little kid.
Yeah, the little kid. He's like, look,
he's growing now.
Yeah, he's like, there's other versions of us here. If you run into them, and they go, kill them, sleep with them. He goes, no, avoid them. What is the matter with you people?
Oh yeah, the fuck, I forget their names, but yeah, one of the guy that's you can see dead people.
Oh yeah, and
he's
Ben,
the one that suggests that to sleep with them.
Yeah, you had Aidan Gallagher's number 5, Luther.
There's a lot of so here are the characters.
Klaus,
Vanya.
that's right. Klaus is the guy who sees
Luther,
Ben.
Diego, Allison Hargraves, Klaus, and then 5.
I love number 5. I also love Klaus. Those are some of my favorite characters.
I love Zeppo and Bippy.
Was that Mary J. Blige? Remember Cha-Cha and Hazel?
I don't know.
Zeppo and Bippy. That's a Groucho Marx Brothers. Those are Marx Brothers.
Yeah, sure.
Anyways,
Whatever.
June 22nd looks fun. So much to watch coming up in the next few weeks, months. Strap in. Speaking of
what do
watching,
you guys think of? I thought I saw rumors that people were like fan casting Tom Hooper, who's
Luther
the big guy. As either the Thing or Mr. Fantastic.
Oh, he's like as big as like Alan Richardson kind of. I think Alan Richardson's a little bit bigger. But he reminds me. I could see him as the Thing in Fantastic Four. Absolutely, that would work.
Yeah, I liked Umbrella Academy. I have to catch up on what happened in season 2, but I definitely remember liking season 2 way more than season 1. So definitely will check this out.
There'll be recap little videos you can watch. Speaking of watching, Anthony, what else have you been watching?
I haven't been watching much, but I did continue the 80s tour last night.
Oh, where are we at?
And I checked out The Running Man from 1987.
Shit.
Oh, wow.
With Arnold Schwarzenegger.
That's like a Black Mirror episode from the fucking 80s.
With a lot of one-liners.
Yeah.
Oh, that's got one-liners coming out the asshole.
That's one I got to watch again.
That's a fun one. That one might make the tournament. We'll see. The eventual tournament whenever we decide to do this. But yeah, it's a fun one. It's just a vehicle for Arnold to spit out one-liners, kill people, and do like a dystopian American Gladiator type thing.
Yeah, the game TV show.
Like it reminded me a lot of like Escape from New York and RoboCop and Terminator in terms of like dystopian future.
Yeah.
But like way more campy
Yeah, it's cheesier.
And like, I feel like Demolition Man watched this and was like, "Oh, we're kind of going to do this, but with Stallone." And like, instead of everyone being real fucked up, everyone's going to be really like altar boy clean.
Yeah, the other way around.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a fun movie. It's definitely campy as shit. You have a freaking one of the villains is like this like gigantic overweight guy that wears like these like Christmas tree lights all over him and sings opera while trying to electrocute people. It's a wild fucking movie.
Yeah, no, that's a classic Arnold 80s fucking movie right there.
What's your favorite line from it?
Oh, I wrote this down. Let me.
Mine is Sub-Zero, Plane Zero.
That's a great one. Let me see. I wrote it down. At the end, he the bad guy that like the TV host, he like sends him into the pit, and he like goes so fast that he hits the billboard, and he goes, "Well, that hit the spot."
I mean, Richard Dawson, fucking who was an actual TV host.
Family Feud. He's the villain.
Yeah, and then you got Jesse Ventura and Dweezil Zappa. It's Mick Fleetwood. It's a fucking
Jim Brown is in it.
Crazy Jim Brown, crazy catch. Yaphet Kotto. I love the Yaphet Kotto.
Yaphet Kotto. Yeah, he's in it. Completely miscast, but yeah, Yaphet Kotto's in it. The other fun one is he takes a chainsaw to one of the guys and literally chainsaws him in the nuts. And then they're like, "What happened to that guy?" He goes, "He had to split."
Is this the movie where he says, "Hope you have enough room for my fist because I'm going to ram it into your stomach and rip out your spine"?
Yep.
That's my fucking.
He says it to the TV host.
Yeah, Richard Dawson.
Oh, it's I mean, it's bad, but it's good.
I forgot it was based off a Stephen King novel. I totally forgot.
Oh
about that.
Yeah. They completely butcher that fucking novel.
Oh yeah. It's got a great line.
Up there with Commando.
It's got a lot of memorable lines.
Literally, like, I watched it, I'm like, this is Commando with just Arnold wearing yellow spandex.
Yeah, the whole time.
What is going on?
Good stuff. You're going to do a Patreon thing for that one?
Yeah, I'll do it.
All right, see, sign up.
I might do a solo, or I might just do it like I did last time, where I ring up a few
bunch
and do
of
them all.
Yeah, that's fun. Ruggs, you been watching anything fun?
Yeah, I watched the Halo season finale.
You did? What did you think of that whole season?
That mother is fucking crazy. That's all I can tell.
Halsey? Yes.
Yeah, she's a fucking crazy biatch. Good one of those villains that's not quite a villain, but is a villain.
Right. Crazy cliffhanger ending. I kind of enjoyed.
They went on the Covenant planet.
Yeah.
And they fucking had this crazy action sequence.
Yeah, the CG on the planet, I don't know, it looked a little, those creatures, but it looked like the video game a little bit too.
Yeah, it looks.
It's an alien planet.
Dodgy, but like still, you could suspend disbelief if you want to.
That last finale, the shit that happens with him and Cortana is crazy. And I was like, I need to find out what happened. Overall, I dug the season. I thought it was a really good season of like sci-fi television.
I thought it was pretty good too. Not the greatest thing I've ever seen, but I was definitely like, hey, I'm definitely going to watch the whole thing.
I wasn't disappointed.
No.
Yeah.
I'll make one comment. Apparently it was good enough where the Ringer, you guys are familiar, Bill Simmons was like, for the Ringerverse podcast, they added another like show to it.
Oh, they're doing a Halo show.
And they like are recapping Halo.
Oh, Halo. I could talk about Halo. There's a lot of good things to talk about in there.
Yeah, it's an interesting show.
Yeah.
It's not there's so many like sci-fi shows that you've seen you've seen them all. Like Halo, it's like a little different. So it's got a little bit of extra stuff in there.
So it's a good video game adaptation? You don't say.
But it doesn't follow the video game story.
I can't say that because it's doing its own thing. It's just using Halo as like a IP basically.
Does that count as a full adaptation of video game? I don't know. It's like what he said. He's just using all these characters.
I don't even know if the Halo is in this movie what it is in the game. I think it's two different things. They gave it a whole different meaning. So
yeah. So is that how you do a video game adaptation? Like, don't worry about the story. Make your own story. Go your own way. I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
This girl that they have in there that was captured and became their priestess. There's a whole preordained like person type thing in this as well.
Also, I said it last week.
Spoiler alert.
He gets laid. That never happened in the game.
Yeah,
so I think he lost his virginity on the show.
He does bang someone.
Right? It's him losing his virginity.
Like I guess that they're so neutered that they don't even have those sexual feelings.
I did love the other Spartan, Kai, who's like dyes her hair red a little bit. Her character had a great arc and was very instrumental. And then the way he gets all the Spartans back on his side was great. That's a fucking cheering moment. So decent show.
Yeah, it's definitely better than I thought it was going to be. After that first episode was like, whoa, oh my God. I'm like, what the fuck is this show? And then it grew on me.
Yeah.
So,
what else you been watching? Anything else fun?
The most notable thing that I've seen is the George Carlin American Dream.
I want to watch this. I haven't watched this.
You haven't seen it yet?
It's only a 2-part documentary.
It's fucking
special.
long. It was done by Judd Apatow, and they got Bill Burr in there. They got a bunch of other comedians like commenting, but it just takes you through George Carlin's entire career. Warts and all. Like his daughter said, do not try and glorify him, show him for everything that he was. And she even was like, yeah, he had a really bad coke problem, and he was like constantly on the road. And yeah, he was just really, really like obsessed with kind of doing his art. And his whole entire you learn about that he grew up in New York City, kind of like near Harlem and the Upper West Side, and he kind of just like was always this guy that hated authority. He came from like a family where his dad was like this monster, and he was very young, but he didn't to get the brunt of it. Like his older brother got his ass kicked by this guy and was like fucked up forever. So he kind of like hated authority, but what he did was like it was weird. He went and he was the most clean, like laced up comic that there ever was. And then all of a sudden, like he couldn't do it anymore. He's like, I have to fucking be myself. Yeah. I can't just be what people want me to be. I have to just be myself. And he just started going on stage and cursing and getting in trouble. And then he found, he did the whole bit of the 7 words you can't say on TV.
Because it's a classic.
Yeah.
I mean, talk about a guy who said whatever the fuck he wanted and meant it unapologetically, fearlessly, still all time, one of the greatest stand-up comedians.
The toolkit that he has, very few comedians have. So number one, he's a good joke writer.
Yep.
He does impressions of people, physical comedy, his faces that he makes. But then on top of all of that, like comedic timing and jokiness and blah, 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 he starts to like become like a conduit for rationality.
Right.
And he starts to become a conduit for truth, and not only truth, but a nihilistic kind of truth, like where he is like tearing away at any kind of like structure or whatever, and just paring things down. And now one of the things that Judd Apatow focused on is that on Twitter or on social media, people are constantly retweeting his bits, and from both sides.
Yeah.
So a liberal will take it and use it for their argument, and because he wasn't on any side, he was on the side of this is all bullshit. You guys are fucking got your heads up your ass. And I was always a kindred spirit to that. I was always like I don't believe in a lot of this institutional shit. I just know that sometimes you just got to do shit to not to make waves and to do no harm. But at the end of the day, a lot of the stuff that we know of is a huge waste of fucking time and stupid. And people base their whole entire lives around really just stupid, meaningless shit.
You know how now the thing is to go, okay, boomer, right? Fucking Carlin was shitting on baby boomers fucking years ago. The first guy to do it, and his rant is hilarious and makes a lot of sense also.
Right. It's true.
And just how he is so well rehearsed. All of his stand-up comes so off the cuff, but he has written and carefully selected every word, every phrase, every mannerism, and rehearsed and performs it like it's the first time he says this shit every time. That's how good he is.
Yeah. So you get that. It's a good character study. It's a little longer than it needed to be, but hey, I was there for it. I love Carlin.
I love Carlin. I'm going to check it out on HBO Max. I watched the first half of Love, Death, and Robots season 3. I think I watched like the first 5 episodes. There's 4 left. It's very violent, but it's very good also. It's like a lot of crazy monsters and fun robot stuff. I'm going to finish that. I'm trying to get through season 2 of Undone on Amazon. Remember that show, Ruggs?
You're trying to?
Well, I'm working my way through it. There's a lot of episodes. I haven't finished yet, but I have time. But it's that rotoscope show with Bob Odenkirk.
Is it good?
It's the story is it's very good. It's not bad. Like
I watched the first one. I liked it.
It's trippy and
it was easy.
Yeah.
It was an easy watch.
It is an easy watch. It continues their story and like every episode has like a crazy twist at the end where you're like, oh shit, I gotta watch the next one. So
many things I need to watch.
And there's even more, guys. Out this week, just to make sure everyone's on the same page. Friday, May 27th, Disney Plus will release the first 2 episodes of Obi-Wan Kenobi. Also this week is Star Wars Celebration, May 26th to 29th. So next week we'll do a Star Wars show, cover that news, review, give you our thoughts on the first 2 episodes of Obi-Wan.
Are they an hour each or how long?
I think they're probably going to be like 40, 50 minutes each, kind of like your Boba Fett and your Mandalorian was.
I'm writing this in my calendar as we
Put
speak.
it down. Friday,
I would
May
not
27th.
watch this show otherwise.
Friday, May 27th. The other thing releasing on the same day over on Netflix, Stranger Things Season 4, Volume 1. And so here, this is crazy. So Netflix is really trying some different things with their release schedule, with their episode lengths. Volume 1 will have the first 7 episodes, okay? The first 6, about an hour as normal. Episode 7 is over an hour and a half long.
Whoa.
2 months later, in July, Volume 2 will have episodes 8 and 9. Episode 8 is another hour and 25 minutes. The finale, episode 9, according to Netflix, will be 2.5 hours long.
Whoa.
Oh, shit. This is...
Why would... I guess they're doing it... They don't want to do an episodic. They want to do a more cinematic.
See, they're breaking what is... I think they want to keep the conversation going, obviously, by splitting it up. But now they're breaking the episodic format. And, like, is it TV? Is it a movie? What is it? Does it even matter? Is it... I'm afraid it might be too much. This season will be 5 hours longer than all of the previous seasons. So imagine a whole season and how some are filler. Sometimes they spin their wheels 5 hours more than, but from early reviews and reactions, I've heard that the horror is very good. They're getting back to what was good about the show. You can actually, I watched the first 8 minutes they put out on YouTube and it was a great horror kind of opening, with a young 11. So I don't know, this format is weird. But there's going to be a lot of speculation between volumes 1 and 2, and they're going to try to keep the conversation going. We'll see if it's good. It sounds like from the reviewers, it's going to be good Stranger Things.
It's crazy how long we have to wait, and then I don't remember what the fucking last thing that we watched.
There's a bunch of recap. The cast has done like season recap videos that you can watch that are a few minutes, and they'll catch you up. All these shows, they do a good job in the beginning. You know, they'll do a little few minute recap video. So I'm never worried.
If they realize that there's nobody remembers what the fuck happened.
They must, because I don't remember having any of these shows. And these kids look like they're wearing kids' clothing. They're so tall and they've grown up and they're still wearing like small. They look like they're wearing adults wearing children's clothing.
Yeah, like Millie Bobby Brown was like 9 when they started it.
Yeah. So
now she's 19.
Yeah. But I'm excited for all this shit. It's going to be a lot to watch. Try and keep up. All right, Ruggs, where can the listener find you online? We're done.
You can find me online at Really Rug Boy on Twitter. Come follow me. Follow.
That link is in the show notes for this episode on our website, in the show description. Check it out for everything we talked about, how to support, how to get in touch with us. Love to hear from you. And most importantly, share the show with your geek friends and relatives. Thank you for listening to the Jock and Nerd podcast. My name is Imran.
My name's Anthony.
He's the Jock.
He's a nerd.
We'll peep you next time.
And this is Stanley.
I want your head up when I throw my fist in the air.
This is
What's going on here? Excelsior!
Jock and Nerd.